So I just saw this on YouTube. Paul Harrell has just passed, and in typical Paul Harrell fashion, he thinks of his subscribers, of his viewers, and in a way, I guess trying to honor Paul Harrell, I want to watch this along with you guys. He's been an influence, in his own way for many of us. Back when he started doing these things, in this crazy world that we live in, where everyone is so isolated, yet at the same time everything is connected and communicated with one another. Enough. Let's go watch it and see Paul Harrell's last message.
Hi everyone, let me get right to the point. As I'm recording this today, it is 20 December 2023. And I'm recording this and giving Brad instructions to publish it upon my death. So if you're watching me, I'm dead. Now, a few months ago, I sat right here on this log and told you I'd been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and I told you we'd caught it early and that we were still going to be here for some time. Well, we did catch it early, but not as early as I had thought, and it has spread faster than I thought it would. You may have seen me recently using this crutch. When I told you I broke my hip, well, I did break my hip. But it wasn't because I was in any kind of accident. It was because the cancer spread to my bones, and the bones just crumbled, my hip fractured, and I fell down. No, I didn't fall down and fracture it. I fractured and then fell down. And my time is drawing very short. So, there's some things I have to ask of you. One, for everyone who is a Patreon supporter, thank you. But don't immediately turn off your Patreon support. We have hopes that a couple of the crew, primarily my brother, are going to continue making content on this channel. So, if you haven't heard from us by next month, yes, then cancel your Patreon support. But we have hope that the channel will continue. Two, people pirate other people's material in this format, and now that I'm dead, I'm not going to be able to do much about it. And I'm sure people will pirate my material. Please, don't put money into the pockets of thieves. If you're going to watch anything I'm doing, make sure you watch it on my channel. And three, if you've been around a while, you know that there have been people who have taken it upon themselves to lie about me and denigrate my character. That Caleb guy being the biggest offender of it, but there's been others. And I've had to make some rebuttal videos and so forth. Yeah, not going to be around to do that, and I'm sure that people will take this opportunity to denigrate my character. So I would hope by now that you know me well enough to know what you should or shouldn't believe. And don't just believe whatever nonsense people tell you. Okay, now with that, there's a couple other things I want to say as well. And that is, to everyone who has watched, hit the like or dislike icon, commented, shared, subscribed, and donated on Patreon, thank you. All of those things support the channel greatly, and I can't even begin to articulate how beneficial and appreciated those things are. I also would want to say that my goal in doing all of this was, yes, to have fun, do some things that were fun, but primarily to put out useful information, or if not useful, at least interesting information. And what I really hope is that as you're watching me, you've seen some things that have made you say, oh, I get it, okay. Things that have made you change something you did in such a way that has helped you. I would really hope that seeing the reviews we've done of things have saved you some money and kept you from buying things that probably wouldn't have been a good fit for you. And if those things have happened, then we've met our goal. The final thing I would want to say is my sincere apologies. I had hoped that I would continue in this format for the next 10 or even 15 years. And even once I was diagnosed, I had hoped that we'd be here 2 or 3 more years, and it's turned out to be only a few more months. And my apologies for that. It really makes me feel like I've let everybody down. So, there's not much more to say than that. So, I guess the final line, I have not really rehearsed this, is I'm really glad to have had this opportunity to do all of the stuff that we've done. I really hope that it's been helpful. I really appreciate you watching, commenting, and participating. And I have probably very few regrets in what we've done here. And I think we've been, for the most part, successful. I hope you agree. So, as always, don't try this at home. And thanks for watching.
I am heartbroken to announce that what you heard is true. Paul Harrell has passed away. It was his wish that I maintain his legacy through this channel by continuing to put out high-quality educational content with the flair we all know and love from him. I ask that you give the crew and myself some time to process the death of my brother and find the best way to honor his memory. I thank everyone in advance for your patience and understanding, and we will get channel updates as we move through this together. I would ask everyone to keep any personal politics or religious beliefs out of any postings regarding Paul on any of our social media. In keeping with Paul's mystery, I cannot tell you what his beliefs were or where he ended up. All I can tell you is that he is now where a man belongs and will remain an inspiration to us all. Thank you.
Some of you know me, but many of you don't. My name is Brad Nelson, and I've been Paul's editor slash post-production guy slash manager for many years now, ever since his channel was very small. I had the great privilege of having Paul in my life and having him as a friend. He's a very generous and kind guy, and he told the best campfire stories. He's positively influenced many people's lives, including my own, and I'm very grateful for that. We are going to be continuing his legacy by uploading videos on this channel eventually, and continuing to educate people the way that Paul did. But you can continue his legacy as well by sharing your knowledge with other people and your enthusiasm for firearms and the outdoors, and just by being curious and striving to learn new things like Paul did. Thank you for all the support that you've given Paul and the rest of us over all these years.
Recording this and giving Brad.
And that's that, guys. It's it is sad. You get to know people when you watch someone throughout the years. Paul was a pioneer in the idea of this meat target. Yes, I know that it's been done before, but it's not so much. It's the character of the man. He that dry humor of his, and yeah, shooting stuff. You will learn things. Is it the best, most accurate test? But it's a nice change from just shooting gelatin all the time. You see things react in a dynamic manner. So yeah, even shooting soda bottles. But again, I insist on this point. It's not that these things have never done before. It's just that the way he did it was, as he said himself, entertaining, and you learn something. Kind of, you expect something to happen, and then it happens, but there's still information there to process, and his stories and so on. Well, I'm glad that there's his brother. I saw some of his videos, some of his brother's videos, some of the videos they did together as we saw Paul. It's terrible fucking disease, you know. And I hope they do continue with it. Is it going to be the same? Of course not. It never is. You can replace people like that, but their legacy in some way can carry on, and I wish them the best of luck in doing so. I'm just left with I mean, this is life, man. And I guess for what I do, this is part of preparedness as well. This is life. You're born, you grow. When I was a kid, when I was a little kid in school, the things that we were taught, we were. What is to be alive? What does it mean to live? Well, there's a kind of simple scientific explanation to that. You're born, you grow, you reproduce, and you die. If you do that, you're alive. If you don't do that, well, question mark, right? Which one specifically? Well, I guess that eventually you will die. I guess that at some point you were born. I guess that at some point someone allowed you to be born to begin with. So the reproducing part is important, the growing part. These are all things that define every single living being in one way or another, with all of the possible variations. And there's organisms that do things in their own way and so on. But I think that's the whole thing of what life is and the meaning of life and everything else, right? You're supposed to be born, you're supposed to grow in all aspects, I guess, the mental, emotional ones, as a human being, as a man, as a woman, as whatever it is that you were born into. Reproduce, have children, live life. That is essential. It doesn't matter who you are. I was watching a video of yesterday. I was watching a Lionel Messi clip. He was talking with Zinedine Zidane, the great French player. And he was telling Zidane that his life was all about football up until the moment in which he had family. That was a moment in which family went above football for Lionel Messi. For Lionel Messi, family was before football. That means that no matter who you are, no matter how much of a genius you are, a scientist, a billionaire, whatever it is you are, family is what matters the most. And if you are smart, you understand that right away. Oh no, but I'm just a fabulous singer, and well, whatever it is you do, I just think that's the people that have figured it out. That they understand their priorities. I don't know, in the case of Paul, children, and so on, he obviously had a good relationship with his brother, so there is that. And then you pass, no matter what you do. It could be something like what happened to Paul, it could be something else. And that is also something that I don't think we talk about enough. The idea that, you're surviving until you're not. You're alive until you're not, and that requires planning as well. I remember an email that I got from someone a while back, a young man getting married and having a kid, his entire life ahead of his young wife died when giving birth, and he was all of a sudden left with a kid, broken heart, and one income less that he obviously needed to get by. And they didn't have life insurance because, hey, we're young, we're healthy, we're okay. No, you don't have that kind of guarantees. That's the only thing you buy yourself. It's not that expensive. Shop around. But that's something you need to plan for as well, for when you're not there anymore. There's going to be people left behind. Now, there's some people out there that will think, well, if I'm not there, why would I even care? I actually heard that from people that you once considered smart. It's not about you. It's about those that are left behind, right? I'm not going to be there. I won't see them suffering. Okay, you don't care about that. Okay, that's kind of messed up. But yeah, that's part of being prepared too. The process of not being okay anymore, of being sick, of being limited. Where do you live? Do you live in the middle of the sticks? Do you live in the middle of nowhere because you're preparing for the end of the world? Well, the end of the world came in a very uncool form, right? But you're with limited mobility. You want things to be practical. Even the house you're living in, how many stairs do you have? Do you have to jump around like a freaking athlete all day long? And maybe that's something that actually keeps you fit for a while. But is that the sort of thing you want when you're older, when you're not as strong, when you're hurt, when your mobility is reduced? So for a while, that may even be a bonus in terms of, you exercise just moving around in your own home because it has so many stairs. Sure, but eventually you want convenience. So those are things you have to think of as well. Where is it that you are? How practical is it? How will it work for you when you're not in your best form, in your best shape? So yeah, man, it's a sad day. It's been coming for a while because we knew that this was coming, but still, nice to have had the pleasure of seeing Paul's videos and his interesting stories that he was generous enough to share with all of us. Guys, see you in our next video. Take care.